Welcome into Vikings Central. Hope everyone is having a great afternoon. Day 3 of Vikings training camp is upon us. I got Austin here with me today. Austin, how we doing?
Doing great. 'Tis the season. We're getting going in the season. It's kind of exciting. It's right around the corner. I can almost smell it.
Yeah, honestly, the fresh cut grass, training camp, 90-degree weather, can't beat it. Vikings football pretty much officially back. I wonder if this kind of going towards this weekend, they're going to get a little bit more, live action going on a little bit and everything. Hopefully they can be outside and not inside, just because they can get more done when they're on the practice fields, a lot more space. But before we get into the video, into the episode here, do want to shout out That's Badass Wood Art. We've been working with them for a long time. A lot of you have bought from them, and I've just been really pleased with Luis's work. That's Badass Wood Art. Go over there on Twitter. Go to his website, that'sbadasswoodart.com, and use VC15 for 15% off your order. He does custom work, Minnesota sports, wood art, pretty much anything. So go check him out, and you will not be disappointed. Also want to shout out our Substack real quick. You can see it scrolling along the bottom there. Substack.com/Viking Central. You'll find all of our work there. A few of us doing article work, short video form. Eventually going to get all the podcasts over in one spot as well, just to make it easy for all of you guys. Just support us and check us out over there. Austin, you want to talk some JJ McCarthy real quick?
I couldn't think of a better thing to do right now, actually.
Exactly right. We love talking about JJ McCarthy because we hope he is the next franchise quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings for the next 10 plus years, something I don't know if we've ever had really since maybe Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirk was here for a while. Dante Culpepper was a good quarterback for a few years, and then injuries kind of derailed that there as well. But JJ, his progression, his chemistry with this offense, with his wide receivers, the offensive line, just kind of getting the playbook down, getting the offense organized. To you, what's like a really successful start for JJ McCarthy? What does that look like to you?
I just think for him, it's like getting comfortable in his progressions. That doesn't really answer the question very much, but I just think we have all these high expectations for him, and I just kind of want to see him go out there and try to hold on to the football and not turn the ball over. So in those first couple of games, if we could maybe, let's say first 3 games, let's minimize the maybe 2 interceptions max, I'd be happy with that. I just want him to go up there and get comfortable with his offensive line. He has to obviously get a connection with Ryan Kelly at center. And then even with his receivers, although he's been working with JJ Jefferson all off season. So I think that chemistry is going to be there. It's just a matter of figuring out his progressions and his 3-step drops, and maybe even figuring out how each running back like Aaron Jones and Mason like to get the ball handed off to him. Just figure out how they're going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what, especially the first couple of weeks, is going to be like. And Steve and I talked about this a little bit. Like, he's probably going to play in that first preseason game. He needs to get his feet wet. You don't want it to be Monday Night Football versus Chicago, Soldier Field. You don't want that to be like his first like official snaps of the year coming off the knee injury. You kind of want to get his feet wet, and those joint practices will help as well. Patriots will be a big one. Mike Vrabel does a really great job disguising defenses, being aggressive. So that's going to really help with McCarthy as well, just to get him used to a different defense other than Brian Flores. But Brian Flores also does a great job not giving you the same look every time. So I think he's kind of got a couple advantages there. But yeah, with the chemistry, and we can go into this too as well. But Justin Jefferson going to be out at least a week. Going to be reevaluated next week with his hamstring. But then you got Jordan Addison. His start to the season is a little bit up in the air. Is he going to get suspended? How long is this suspension? Is it going to be 1 game, 2 games, 3 games at the start of the year? We really don't know. We haven't really heard anything yet. His case was closed. They kind of figured out what kind of happened there. So we should hear something from the NFL here anytime, I'm guessing. But it's going to be important to just build chemistry, especially like you said, the offensive line. But you don't have Christian Darrisaw there yet. Will Fry's there yet. So hopefully those guys can get caught up to speed, get in there. But Ryan Kelly and JJ McCarthy sounds like they're really hitting it off right away, which is really good. Veteran center is going to help him out a ton. Ryan Kelly has seen a crap ton of football, so just having that in his back pocket as well is going to help him a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a big thing. The veteran center, I love that. And like you were saying, we have two offensive line pieces needing to come back, so everyone's not really getting able to mesh thus far, like as we would like to see. But I think a great way to do that is in the run game, and especially with maybe Addison missing a few weeks. I think it's going to be important for. I would love to see the Vikings run the ball 25 to 30 times in the first couple of weeks, and try not to put too much pressure on McCarthy and try to let our offensive line come together, figure it out. We're supposedly a top 5 offensive line in the NFL. I think we use it and use that time to let JJ kind of get things moving, figure out his progressions, his hand signals, everything, and then really let him open up on week 3 there.
Yeah, honestly, that's a great idea. Just kind of pound Aaron Jones, pound Jordan Mason.
Yeah.
Especially at Soldier Field, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then
it's going to be loud there.
Yep, going to be loud. Week 2 versus the Falcons. If you can keep the run game going, I mean, that's when JJ played best in college.
Yeah.
He's got all the capability of throwing it down the field and ripping the football all over the place. But just in order to get his feet wet a little bit, I think that is going to kind of be a point of emphasis for Kevin O'Connell. Just keeping him comfortable, and if the run game is working, stick to it. But even with Jefferson's injury, Jordan Addison kind of looming around. We can talk about the depth a little bit, and this is going to give an opportunity for JJ to improve with Jalen Naylor, Ty Felton, Rondale Moore, not just Jefferson and Addison, who is going to be his a couple main targets, obviously, during the year.
Yeah.
And then you got TJ Hawkinson, who I think is going to have a huge year, and that's everyone's kind of getting on board with that. But it does give them an opportunity just to kind of go down the depth chart and the wide receiver 3, 4, 5, 6, just develop chemistry with them as well. So hopefully, we can use this as a positive, even though, Justin could be missing maybe a week or two from training camp. And again, who knows with Addison, but just building the chemistry with all the wide receivers instead of just like the first couple options, I think will be nice too.
Yeah, and I think it's a good thing just to have a lot of familiarity with everyone in the room, because you never know when someone's going to have to come in for a play for any specific reason down the season. So, yeah, it's a great thing to see. Like, obviously, it's not a great thing to see Jefferson hurt, but maybe just like getting other guys some reps out there, it'll be good for the future. It's always good to kind of see how everyone does things. And even working with new people can help you expand your game even more. So maybe something like that could help JJ McCarthy as well.
Yeah, and I want to kind of get your view on this as well. Like, obviously, you got Jefferson, Addison, and then Naylor's probably your third guy. How do you think like the rest of the depth chart's going to fill out there? You got Rondale Moore, you got Tim Jones, who's kind of a Trent Sherfield replacement. You got Ty Felton, you got Lucky Jackson, Thayer Thomas. They're pretty high on Silas Bolden. I feel like I don't know what he's going to do at the wide receiver. He's going to probably be more of a return guy. How do you think the end of that depth chart is kind of going to fill out, in your opinion?
I think that's going to be kind of tough, but I think Rondale Moore for sure is going to be safe, in my opinion, because I think he's going to be used in a lot of different packages. But I think, like Tim, I think he's going to be big. He's going to be a nice body. He's going to help downfield. I think he's a good depth piece. But I think after that, I think it's pretty wide open. I think the Vikings have left the door pretty wide open for competition, which always brings out a good thing. I also wouldn't even be surprised to see another addition in the wide receiver room if we do hear about a suspension from Addison, maybe bring in another veteran presence. But yeah, exactly. I think the end of that depth chart is going to be pretty wide open.
Yeah, it's very true. And we talked about this last night too, but probably carrying 6 wide receivers.
Yeah.
So I feel like you said, Rondale Moore, if he's healthy, I think he's safe. Tim Jones is a really good blocker, really good special teams player, and they love having that type of guy around. And then you got Ty Felton, who's a 3rd-round pick, even if he was.
Yeah, we're going to hold on to the 3rd-round pick. Probably, obviously, it's maybe more so going to be Tim Jones, if anything. But
it sounds like you said, made some flashes too. So I mean, So it is interesting. It's some camp battles to watch there in that room for sure. But my guess right now, it'd probably be Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, Moore, Jones, and then Felton. And
Yeah.
I don't know, Thayer Thomas, Lucky Jackson back to the practice squad again. And then if they are comfortable with Silas Bolden just being like a return guy, gadget type player, I could see that. But it sounds like Felton's been working a lot,
Yeah.
fielding punts, fielding kick returns. So I feel like he might be the guy for that job because he might be the wide receiver 5. He's it's good to just get his feet wet that way too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So, anything else you want to add to that at all, Austin?
No, I think that's we covered that pretty well. And like you were saying before, I think Hawkinson's gonna be a big part of the offense in terms of pass catching. He's gonna have a big year. Rookie quarterbacks, they love to go to the tight end, and JJ McCarthy in college love to go to the tight end. JJ Hawkinson is one of the most athletic and fast and best route running tight ends in the NFL. So I'm expecting to see a big season out of him as well.
Yeah, and I feel like him and McCarthy have really kind of kicked it off a little bit. Even going back to last year, I feel like they're pretty close knit, which is pretty good to see. Just the chemistry off the field is going to translate to on the field, so that's good to see. So,
and then even I think we're going to see a lot of 12 and 22 personnel with Josh Oliver out there as well. So sure. I think, because like I was saying, I really expect to see a lot of run games. So I think we might even see a couple of pass catches early from Oliver early in the season.
Yeah, and he's an underrated pass catcher too. I think he's really good. So just be able to use him a little bit more. We know Colson Loveland was JJ's favorite target at Michigan. So he's going to use his tight ends, especially like you said, if they kind of run those heavier packages, get the run game going, use play action. And I think that's going to help them in the red zone a lot too, which we've struggled. Not just like the Jordan Mason addition is obviously going to just help from the start as well, but be able to open up the play action a little bit, have those tight ends. JJ's really good at a play action. Just be able to be more successful down there and not turn the ball over.
Yeah.
Like for a young quarterback, like you said, that's probably the most important thing. He's going to force some throws because that's kind of in his mentality, which I like. There's going to be some turnovers, but I just want to see him, orchestrate the offense and cash in when you're in the red zone and just play really good football. And as the season goes on, just get better and better and more comfortable and build that chemistry as the year goes on. Because 17-game season, if you start out a little rocky, 2-2, 3-2, you can make up for it. So.
For sure, it's not how you finish. It's not how you start. It's how you finish.
Yep, that's exactly right. All right, I was talking about the offense a little bit. Let's talk about the defense. Sounds like they're kind of Brian Flores, of course. They're kind of flying around the field.
Yeah.
Throwing out already a lot of different looks at the Vikings offense, which again is good for a young quarterback because he's going to see everything. First game action, if it is the Bears, preseason week 1 versus the Texans, you're probably not going to see a full package defense anyway, but it's kind of a cheat code having a guy like Brian Flores as defense coordinator. You expect this defense to be better than they were last year. I mean, they had 24 interceptions last year, a bunch of sacks, but I would like to see them kind of get pressure without having to send extra guys, send an extra linebacker. I just want to be able to see them get pressure, with their defensive line, especially in the interior. And we've added a couple additions to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, you said the 24 interceptions. I don't like to measure how a defense is doing about how many interceptions they get because that can be really fluky and that can be on the offensive. That could be an offensive problem. So I think, like you were saying, look at the sacks. I would love to put in pressure without bringing the extra guys is important. More guys in the backfield. And when the guys, I think Ginkel's going to have a great year. He's already starting off big in training camp. He recovered for 6. So I think Ginkel's going to have another big year. Greenyard's going to have another big year. And I think it's going to be important for those two guys to really generate where we go in the beginning of the season, because I think we're going to rely heavily on the veteran presence early.
Yeah, I think we will too. And just the depth that they've kind of added into there as well, which is really nice.
I worry about our safeties, though. I'm not going to lie, but
you got Harrison Smith, Josh Metellus, who's in a contract year, and then Theo Jackson. Jay Ward is unproven, but that's kind of probably going to be your top 4 guys there.
Yeah.
We've never seen Theo in like a full-time starting role. Harrison Smith is 36 years old. There's a lot of question marks. I agree with that. Even our
Yeah.
cornerback room. So yeah, it's the secondary does scare me a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That's probably the biggest. Would you agree that's like the weakest link so far, probably of the team in general?
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, not even just the defense. I'd say our
Yeah.
entire team. That's definitely our safety room. And that's not even fair to say about Harrison Smith, obviously, but
Yeah.
because he's proven himself. But at some point, it's just going to happen where Father Time always wins. And we're hoping this is not the year and we can get another productive year out of him.
Yeah. And I don't expect anything less. I feel like if he knew his body was on the decline, I think he would have been fine hanging it up. I feel like he knows he has something left in him.
Yeah.
And just the leadership back there too is just, second to none.
Huge.
So,
yeah.
Teaching guys like Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus has probably learned a ton from him. And then Jay Ward is in his third year, who I could see making a step up in this defense.
Yeah.
Talking about the cornerback room a little bit now, you got Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rogers, Mekhi Blackman. I guess Jeff Okudah actually has been making some splashes in training camp, which is if he could somehow even be rock solid as a corner, something he hasn't really been able to do his whole career. But, you put him with Brian Flores, you never know what Flores is able to do. And then you got like Dwight McGlover and then a couple other additions that are going to be depth there. Like in a perfect world, like who's your top three corners in your opinion?
Well, I mean, this is tough, but it's sounding like Okudah, like you said, is having a big splash in the beginning. He was getting reps with the ones.
Yep.
But what I'm really curious to see for sure is Isaiah Rogers. He's obviously coming over from that Super Bowl winning team and over in Philly, but the questions are, is he really never was a big impact on their defense? See how he does in a bigger role. Yep. Things are looking good, like on the first 3 days of training camp. But that's a guy I see to be there alongside with Blackman as well. I think that's the third guy is Blackman for sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
What do you think on that?
Yeah, I feel like in a perfect world for me, I think Blackman is your third guy just because he's younger. I feel like he's got more potential just to be able to really make an impact. Coming off the ACL, you never know how that goes, but it sounds like it's been pretty smooth transition so far. Again, another point where they're just trying to get, the players' feet wet a little bit, which I think is important as well. So, if Isaiah Rogers can be a solid corner two, I think that'd be great. But we haven't seen him in full, a full-time role either yet.
Yeah,
he was good for the Eagles. He had the gambling issue. He was decent for the Colts, but Brian Flores seems to love him. And he was like one of their main targets entering free agency, which we're kind of like, huh? Like, kind of came out of nowhere, but at the same time, you got to trust those guys. So Dallas Turner is another guy I wanted to talk about quick.
Yeah.
Year two, sounds like he's put on some muscle, put on some weight. Hopefully he's added a couple extra moves as well as a pass rusher, but learning from a couple of good guys ahead of him and Jonathan Grenard and Andrew Van Ginkel. So Dallas Turner, expectations for him.
I think we're going to see a big year out of Dallas Turner. He was one of the youngest guys coming out of that draft last year, so it was unfair to have high expectations for him. I think he's always had a great first step. He came in a little undersized. And like you said, he put on a little more weight. I think the first step's a big thing, and when you have more size, I think he's going to be a big impact. I think just having that first step, you're able to use your move, get a swim move, use your rips, all that kind of stuff. I expect a big year out of him. I think he's going to get in there, and I think he's going to get at least 6 or 7 sacks. I think that's a realistic number for him.
Yeah. And especially, I think he's being more of a rotational guy this year. He's going to get more of an opportunity, just kind of earn his flowers a little bit that way. But I just want to see him in different positions. Like he could be outside linebacker. You can put him in the interior, let him kind of go in there a little bit on passing downs. And he can cover a little bit too for an outside linebacker, something those other guys, are all okay doing. But I feel like Dallas has a pretty big advantage and a pretty high ceiling just to be able to be a decent cover linebacker, which helps him, get on the field as well. So he's probably like my one of the biggest guys. Like if he booms, that's going to really help out
It's gonna be huge if
the
you
defense
do.
is going to be huge. Like
Yeah.
having 3 pass rushers that are able to get around the quarterback, and Grenard, Van Ginkel, and Dallas Turner. I mean, like,
Yeah.
watch out. That's going to help the secondary too, in the long run. But yeah, for our 2 first-round picks from next year hit, it's going to be a great year for the Minnesota Vikings with JJ McCarthy and Dallas Turner. So, anything else you want to add before we get out of here, Austin?
Yeah, I was kind of curious who you see where you see the quarterback room is going to be at. Where do you think, like, with Ripien and why am I blanking on his
Sam
name?
Howell,
What?
Sam Howell, Max
Sam
Rose.
Howell, yeah. I'm kind of curious where you see our second quarterback being.
Yeah, that was one of the notes I put out on X. Like, Sam Howell's been struggling. It sounds like first couple days. I don't want to lean too much into it. You know, if after a couple weeks we kind of see the same thing, then you really have to start worrying. I think, excuse me, I think Sam has like the perfect shot to get the backup quarterback position. I think they're giving him everything that he needs to land that job. They want him to land that job, but if he's not making throws, he's not moving the offense around and being efficient or anything like that. He could even be a cut candidate, in my opinion, which is kind of crazy.
Well, I think so too. Yeah, I think if he does bad enough, he's getting paid too much to be the third quarterback.
Yep. And I know they love Brett Ripien just because he's a smart guy. He's seen a lot of football, been in a lot of different systems. So I think he's safe as the third guy. I would not be comfortable him being the second guy, I don't think, because if JJ does have to miss a game or two, we need a guy that's a little bit more capable than that, in my opinion. So it's interesting to see leading up to week 1 if there is a guy that gets cut that they're interested in, or a guy that's still sitting out there that maybe they could throw a contract at. So I think it's very much up in the air, but I think they want Howell to take the second job. He's just got to take it. So
yeah, I really like Howell. I didn't think he even got a fair shake in Washington. I think he has a lot of talent, and I just think this is being really fluky in the first couple of days. But
yep,
I think for sure it's gonna be between him and Ripien at the 2, obviously. And we've seen a lot from Ripien that I've liked to see as well. So I honestly see him as our third quarterback. To be completely honest, that might ruffle a little feathers for a couple Gopher fans, but I think that's just the honest opinion there.
For sure. Nope, I 100% agree. I do have to take off here, Austin. We will talk again here soon. Thanks for hopping on, guys. Day 3 of training camp. Keep your eyes on social media. We'll see if we see any more big plays from JJ McCarthy, maybe a Jordan Addison again, or TJ Hawkinson. So God bless. Skull. See you in the next.